Yeah.
All right,
Hi,
this next
Move
one.
and Gonky. My name's Connor from Boise, Idaho, and I have a couple questions for you today.
Dance.
First of all, so I'm interested in flying, but I also would like to be an infantryman as well. Would you suggest joining the Marines to be both pilot and infantryman, or do you think I should go fly helos in the Army? And
A-10s
also,
in
I've heard
Boise.
that the Navy has a lot less restrictions as to what you can do with the plane when you're flying. Is that true? And then what exercises would you suggest to help me train to be physically fit for the application to Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, or the officer candidate school? Obviously, I'm doing push-ups, crunches, and pull-ups, and stuff like that. But are there any other exercises that you would suggest? And then also, would you suggest doing Civil Air Patrol for the Navy? Thanks for everything you do. Bye.
Doug, did you write any of these down?
That's more than 3.
We're going to need notes on that one.
So he's already got. So he's definitely qualified for the Marines now. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love the enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's cool.
So ignoring everything you just asked and inputting my own thing from the first thing I heard, you live in Boise, dude. The best A-10 squadron in the world is in Boise, and I think they're transitioning to the Viper here in the next couple of years. To me, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to real college, and I am putting every effort I can into rushing that unit to become a Viper driver in Boise, where I'm from. That's just me. But I guess if we're going to answer the actual questions as posed, if you wanted to do infantry and fly, I think you need to pick.
Well, I don't know. So obviously I went through flight school with Marines, and so Mover and I are kind of the same. Like, I never had any desire to be like cold, muddy, and nasty with gun. Like, I love guns, but like, carrying my gun through the woods and doing the whole infantry thing. Like, I wanted to be the guy in the air. Now, if you really genuinely like that, aspect of the military, I think the Marines is a great choice, because you're going to get all the training that, a rifleman in the military is going to have. Right. So you go to OCS, and then you're going to go right afterwards. You go to TBS, which is like, they teach you basically how to do all the ground stuff. And then a lot of the guys, even the guys that went Hornets, guys and gals, as soon as they finished their Hornet training, like, their next tour wasn't to a fleet squadron. It was, hey, you're going to go be a ground fac, in the desert for a year, which at the time, I was like, complete waste of money, because you just trained a dude in a Hornet or a girl. And now you're going to take them for a year, and they're going to go, play G.I. Joe in the sand. When they get back, they got to go right back to training, right? But if that's what you like, and some of those guys actually liked that, that part of the military, it's, I don't know, being a Marine, right? So you got to ask yourself, is that what you want? But if you're trying to pick one or the other, I mean, that's a pretty
they're very different.
Big choice. Yeah, they're very different. Very different. Now, sorry.
I was just going to say, so, other than the other part of the question, academy versus, real college, naval ROTC, Air Force ROTS.
I can't.
Well, so there's something to be said about ROTC, just because on the active duty side, the academies and ROTC, you're much more likely to get a pilot slot. Just in general, bulk, how many they have,
yes,
your odds of getting there. Once because it's the old saying, you're in the system, once you're in the system, it's very easy to move within the system, versus off the street. It's not impossible, but during that time you're off the street, nobody's responsible for you. So you don't have anything. You're just applying off the street. You need a real job. However, going back to my original argument about going and flying for the Boise A-10 guys, dude, that unit has they have ALOs, they have a JTAX. you want to fly and be infantry, they're an A-10 unit right now. And if you get in, if you got enough time, I don't know, how old was he? He's not in college. So, I mean, he's at least 4 years away. But so they'll probably be flying Vipers, which is the world's greatest airplane. So, I mean, I think that is an option. ROTC is probably a good option. It just depends on how college is being paid for, because obviously you don't want to be in debt when there are options available to you where you are, whether through ROTC scholarship, through going to the academy. I mean, the academy's hard to get into. There's appointments and all that stuff. I mean, it's not an easy process, and you have to start early in your high school career to get there.
Right. Yeah.
Gonky, how do we? So.
Well, and now mover is assumption is you want to stay in the area. So yeah, I don't know if you do or not. If you do, like what he's saying is 100%. If you don't, obviously that opens up.
Yeah. I just see the opportunity because I know how good of a squadron that is. But, he mentioned Army helicopters. Casmo flew. I mean, he drove tanks. And that's probably not standard in the Army, but there's definitely that path. The thing about Army, though, if you're going to go Army, I'd go warrant officer. I wouldn't even.
Yeah, so I've flown with a couple of Army guys. They did the whole rotor to fixed wing transition. I always ask them because Army aviation to me is this I don't really know a lot about it, but they spoke very highly of it, and they really enjoyed it. And there's a definite blend of being a soldier and being a pilot, primarily obviously helicopters if you're gonna go that route. But like Mover said, typically the warrants in the Army do a lot more of the flying vice the officers. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you got a little bit of time. Just keep researching.
Infantry. Speaking of, when are you getting on the? Hey, when are you coming to be a guest host, Mr. Gun Pilot? We're supposed to follow up on that. I'm going to follow up with you after this because you're supposed to be a guest host, sir. We're going to talk about Apaches. It's awesome.
Yeah, he can shed some light on it.
As far as the exercises go,
yeah,
just run and
just
be
take care
in
of
shape.
yourself. Yeah, just you don't have to. You don't have to get Arnold's Book of Bodybuilding. It's like just take care of yourself. Don't pizza and beer every night's probably not the right answer.
Creatine.
And then
don't do that. And
the big thing is just don't, like in college or even in high school, don't do anything to get yourself arrested. You don't want any kind of record or anything like that.
Don't overtrain either, because
an
injury when you're young becomes severe arthritis when you're old.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're doing high school sports, that's more than most.
Run.
Do a little running.
Is the hardest part. I mean, if you can
do a little running. Yep.
Running is where it's at. Okay.
The thing is, if you show up to any of the boot camps with physically in good shape, that's just one thing. I never worried about like the run or the push-ups, sit-ups, because I knew I could do that. It was everything else that I worried about. So if you can just eliminate, that's one thing that you do have control over. So just take care of yourself. You should be okay.
And make them tell you no.
Yes.